Hi, I'm Franklin, and this is Law School Strategy, How I Graduated from Law School with a Job. How I Graduated from Law School with a Job is a series of interviews with practicing attorneys or legal professionals to find out more about their journey. The purpose is for you to hear about how other legal professionals became employed and started their careers following law school, or in some cases, relaunched their careers at a later stage in their professional career. It's not just young lawyers that we'll be talking with, but attorneys across all levels of experience and practice areas. The purpose isn't to try and prove the legal job market is perfect, because it's not, or convince you that it's easy to get a job and there are a ton of jobs out there, because there aren't. However, I do hope you gain some insights, ideas, tips, or other pieces of advice that can help you and your law school strategy. I do believe that if you work hard, follow the advice we share, you'll be closer than ever to graduating from law school with a job. On this episode, we have attorney Alex Davie from Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, Alex.
Hi.
So tell us, why did you go to law school? What did you do or study before law school that might have impacted that?
Well, I went to Penn in Philadelphia, and I was an economics major. Also took some coursework in political science and psychology, but I was not, I certainly didn't have any kind of concentration in pre-law by any stretch of the imagination.
Got it. So what was the decision that made you go to law school? Was it something you'd always planned on doing?
Sort of, not really. So I was like a lot of law students, probably what a lot of law students still do today, which is, I don't know what I'm going to do after college. And, it's sort of something I have a little bit of interest in, and why not? It was just sort of the natural next step for me. I didn't have a very clear path after graduation. I think a lot of people go to law school for that reason. It's probably not the best reason to go. Certainly, if someone was saying that to me today, I might say, well, maybe I want to think about something else. But that was my reason, in all honesty.
Great. Yeah, I definitely appreciate the honesty. So did you graduate from law school with a job? Let's fast forward a little bit past law school. Did you graduate with a job? And if so, how did you get a job after law school?
Okay. Well, for more honesty here, because my job search experience is probably very different from a lot of law students today. I graduated in 2003, so my main job search would have been in 2002 when I was looking for my summer associate position, or really actually it would have been in fall of 2001. So it was right after 9/11, which did have somewhat of an impact, a negative economic shock, and caused the job market to deteriorate. But by all standards of today, I went to law school at a time when we had a pretty good economy for lawyers. So I got my job out of law school through my second year summer associate program. It was at a large law firm called Ballard Spahr in Philadelphia, and I got that from on-campus recruiting, simply by showing up, which is a lot less than what I think people need to do.
Yeah, got it. So what other internships did you take during law school? Did you have the opportunity to do a clerkship or any other experience that assisted you in that process of getting that law firm job?
Well, I had first year, 1L year summer, I got a internship at a hospital system, working for their general counsel, helping out doing some legal research. I had a pretty good experience. They were helpful in introducing me to attorneys in town at all the different firms. So I think that certainly kind of gave me a little bit of a head start. So, I'd say, bit of the lesson there is, if you can get one of these positions, it doesn't have to be at a big, large law firm, but if you can get into a position where you have the chance to meet other people, that's a really helpful step.
Yeah, definitely. So let's fast forward a little bit more after law school, after you've gotten your law firm job, after summering. When did you change jobs? Because I don't think you're still there. So what was that looking like when you were changing jobs?
Sure. My career has kind of taken many paths. I was at Ballard Spar, and then later another. Well, it wasn't a large firm; it was a medium-sized firm in Philadelphia called Hanley Aaron Chick. And I spent about a total of 4 years between the two of them. After about 4 years, I actually thought about doing something else. I was a real estate lawyer in Philly, and ended up taking a year off. I got a master's degree and kind of was trying to figure out the next steps. I ended up moving to Nashville, and out of the master's program was in organizational development. I thought maybe my next step was management consulting or something like that, something non-legal. What I ended up finding, and of course I graduated that in 2008, which is a real, by today's standards, a real economic downturn. I ended up getting a position as general counsel to it was a startup company. It was a real estate investment fund, and my background in real estate was sort of my foot in the door, and ended up doing that for 3 years. The startup venture didn't end up working out, but at the end of the 3 years, I found myself in the position that I think a lot of law students do find themselves in, and which is looking for a position in a tough environment. So I contacted local firms in Nashville. And one of I think that the worst sort of barrier I had to deal with was, given that I was about 7 years out of law school, law firms couldn't really afford at the time to hire more senior attorneys that didn't have books of business. And of course, being in-house, I didn't have a book of business. So that's one thing that I think that a lot of even the attorneys who do well get a great job at a large law firm in the city of their choice. One thing they have to realize is that the marketability they have now changes, and what makes them valuable now, which might be good grades and good pedigree, good attitude, and all that, you need more as you get further on. And so if you're going to be in private practice, you got to think about building business. Now, associates in large firms, when they're first starting out, that's not what they need to be worried about. But as they get into the mid-years, they really need to start thinking about that and their marketability, because that is the future, what law firms are going to be looking at, as you get into your future years.
If I ever wanted to transition to a law firm at some point, then I would kind of be looking at your situation, I guess, where I would need to have some type of book of clients or bring something to the table, essentially. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I mean, that could be true. I think it depends on the economy. I mean, sometimes law firms are looking for talent to do the deals because they have so many deals and they don't have enough people to work them. Sometimes the law firms are looking for people to bring them deals and they have too much talent to, and that's where you get to the layoff situations and everything like that. So I think it goes with the business cycle, but it is something that is, so it's not absolutely essential. There are probably positions you can find that are for more senior attorneys that don't have books of business, but you're always in a better position when you do.
Got it. Yeah, definitely. So I guess you kind of hinted at it a little bit, but what were some times that you struggled or faced any challenges in the job search besides this going back to law firm after being in-house? What were some other struggles that you faced in your search?
I mean, just trying to find a focus in a story. I mean, I was a real estate lawyer. I took some time off. I was in-house. That sort of brings up, okay, what's your focus? What do you really want to do? And when you have a sort of career that moves in sort of twists and turns, that's great in some ways. But it also, at some point, you need to think about and focus on what's your story, what's your goal, because the potential employers need to know what you're about. So I think trying to come to that story and understand and find your niche. The earlier you can do that, the better. So
kind of explain how you found your niche. What does it look like? What kind of practice do you have now?
Sure. I actually focus on two types of transactions. I'm a general corporate attorney now. When I was in-house, most of my work, even though it was a real estate fund, most of my work was actually was corporate legal work. And I found I enjoyed that a whole lot more than the real estate work. So my focus is now are on two areas. One being startup and technology companies, and then the other being a really small niche, which is a hedge fund and private equity fund formation and compliance. So the latter of those came about just due to the fact I had to do a lot of that work while at my general counsel job. So it was a niche area. I had knowledge in it. Very few people have knowledge in it. It's valuable. The other one was more a combination of interest. I like technology. There's a growing startup scene in Nashville, and so it was, my decision to kind of get on the front edge of what is hopefully, something that's going to grow as the years go by.
Definitely. Can you kind of touch on that? Because something I've heard repeated quite a bit now. When it comes to specializing, and obviously as attorneys we can't say we specialize in an area, but specializations in certain areas of the law can really help, whether it's on a consulting basis or an of counsel position or whatnot. But can you kind of describe your experience and what you've seen in terms of people, whether they're attorneys or not, that are learning how to specialize and kind of becoming the go-to people for a specific area of the law?
Well, I mean, I do know that a lot of folks who are consultants for lawyers on marketing themselves always recommend having a niche. Okay, that's what they're saying to do. It's certainly what I've decided to do. When you're a generalist, part of the issue is they're not hiring you for your expertise. They might be hiring because they think you're cheaper than someone else, and so. You want to compete on the right things. If you compete on price, you're going to be dealing with a whole lot of people who are looking for bargains, and you're not going to have as rewarding a practice as if you are someone that brings a unique set of knowledge or near unique. If there are not too many people like you who know about your topic, you're going to be sought after. There may be less people out there who need your service. But there's a definite market need that you're meeting. Of course, you want to be in a niche that actually has a market need. That's important. But if you can find one, they're going to go to you. They're not going to be so worried about how cheap can I negotiate this down. Of course, all clients have some degree of price sensitivity, but you're going to be someone that is looked at as the expert, and therefore price becomes secondary.
So let's just pretend you're back right now in law school, graduating. What advice would you tell yourself? So what advice would you give to other law students that are graduating right now or recently graduated?
Sure. Well, first of all, I realize that a lot of what I've talked about is something that's so far off from a lot of law students in terms of what they're going to have to deal with. They're going to have to deal with a very different set of challenges. So let's say they get a job at a law firm. What the law firm wants is someone who can dependably churn out a lot of work that can be somewhat boring to do sometimes, and work really hard, a lot of hours, and have a good attitude, be helpful and dependable, and all that. So I realize that is really what you need to be conveying. However, everything I've just said really gets to the idea of law firm economics, the business of being a lawyer. And having an understanding of that is an advantage. So if you can talk to at least have an understanding of what are the top worries on partners' minds, you can be helpful to them in ways that, say, someone who just takes assignments and really doesn't think about the meaning behind them, you're more valuable than those folks. So I think just having an understanding that partners are worried about getting clients, they're worried about keeping clients, they're worried about having profitable clients, and not writing off lots of time and getting good value out of their associates. So if you can be mindful of that, that's an advantage. Another thing I'd say is network. I mean, just don't stop. You never know who you can meet. Someone who clearly is not hiring, that's fine. They might introduce you to someone who's also not hiring, that's fine. And then that person introduces you to someone who's hiring. So I think that's another valuable lesson.
Excellent. Yeah, that's definitely some great advice. I appreciate you sharing that. So yeah, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. But thank you so much, Alex, for taking the time to talk and share some insights and experiences.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe for future episodes of How I Graduated from Law School with a Job. They're every Wednesday, and I post them typically in the morning. So subscribe and never miss a video. Thanks for watching.